Well, howdy there, Internet students. It's Mr. Hermanson again. Today I'm going to introduce you to another form of a line. It's called standard form. This form works really good for representing certain types of problems. And it looks like this: ax plus by equals c. The bad thing about it is it's really hard to tell what the slope and the y-intercept is, but for the kinds of situations that we use it, we don't really need to know that. So go ahead and read this problem and answer the question. What do you think the points 7, 0 and 0, 4 represent in this problem? What I was hoping you were thinking is that the point 7, 0 means that you are getting 7 ounces of cashews, so your mix is all cashews. The point 0.04 means that you are getting 4 ounces of peanuts, which means you're getting all your protein from peanuts. With either of those, you could multiply by the number of grams of protein from each. For cashews, it would be 4 grams. 7 times 4 is 28 total grams. And for the peanuts, you could just do the 4 ounces of peanuts times the 7 grams of protein per ounce, which also comes out to 28. So there's a really nice simple equation to represent this mix of anywhere between. So if we have some of each, like right here, where we have 2 ounces of cashews and 3 ounces of peanuts, it should still add up to 28 grams of protein in total. And here's how that equation would look. Since X represents the ounces of cashews and each ounce of cashews has 4 grams of protein, we can just take 4x to get the grams of protein in those cashews. And since Y is going to represent the ounces of peanuts and there are 7 grams of protein in each ounce of peanuts, we can take 7 times the number of ounces of peanuts to get the grams of protein in the peanuts. And we can see that no matter what, we're going to end up with 28 grams of protein. So this equation works really well to represent this problem. Now, there's a bunch of possibilities here. They're all represented by points on this line here. Some are whole number ounces of protein, some are not. Like this point right here would be about 2.5 ounces of cashews and about 2.5 ounces of peanuts, somewhere around there. But this point right here looks like it's 2 ounces of cashews, so that'd be 4 times 2, and then 3 ounces of peanuts, 7 times 3. It must not be quite exactly on there, because when you add these up you actually get 29, so it's not exactly 4 and 3, or 2 and 3. All right. Now, one thing about the standard form is it's really easy to graph because it's easy to get a couple points, the x and y intercepts, and I'm going to show you how to do that right here. So to get the x-intercept, you need y to be 0, because on a graph, just a reminder, if you draw a line on a graph, the place where it crosses the x-axis right there, the value of y is 0. So I'll put 0 in for y, and then just figure out what x is. So my equation would look like this: 5y minus 6 times 0 equals 60. Well, 6 times 0 is just 0, right? And 5x minus 0 is just 5x. So now I'm just going to do 60 divided by 5, which means x equals 12. So I now have 1 point on the graph. Now another point on the graph would be the y-intercept, and we all know that the value of x when you're on the y-axis is 0. So I'm going to put in 0 for x here, so 5 times 0 minus 6y equals 60. That's equal to 0, right? And 0 minus 6y would just be negative 6y. And so I'm going to do 60 divided by negative 6, and I find that y is equal to negative 10. So the y-intercept is negative 10. Now if I wanted to graph that, I have 2 points. That's all I need to make a line. All right, why don't you try and find the x and the y-intercepts for this next equation right here. To find the y-intercept, you're going to let x equal 0. To find the x-intercept, you're going to let y equal to 0. Give it a shot. All right, so here's what I got. Now, one thing I'll just mention real quick here is when you're finding the x and y-intercepts and you're substituting in 0, basically what's going to happen is, so here was the equation, right? If you put 0 where the x is, that's just going to make that x term go away. So I'm just going to erase it. And so you end up with a really little equation, 8y equals 12. So you have to do 12 divided by 8, which is 1.5. Now if you were finding the other, if you're finding the x-intercept, you would just put 0 where the y is, and that's going to make this term equal to 0. So you just end up with 3x equals 12, and x equals 12 divided by 3, which is 4. All right? So if you want to graph this, let's just find those 2 intercepts. That'll be a nice, quick way. I'll show you another way too. Some of you might like it better, but it's harder if you ask me. So if I put in 0 for x, so I'm making this term 0, then I get negative 8y equals 24. So y equals 24 divided by negative 8, which is negative 3. So my y-intercept is negative 3. I'll put that there. Now to find the x-intercept, I'm going to let, let's do this in blue. I'm going to put in 0 for y there, and 8 times 0 is just 0. So I end up with 4x equals 24, and you guys can see 4 times 6 is 24, right? So x is 6. So that's that 0.60, which is right there. Well, now I have 2 points on the graph. That's all you need to make a line. So let's draw on the line. Why don't you try that? All right, for the x-intercept, I got when you let y equal 0, x would be 10, because 2 times 10 is 20, right? And for the y-intercept, you get 4 because 5 times 4 is 20. Okay. Now here's another way you can do it if you're really good at changing it into slope-intercept form, and you like graphing that way, then go ahead and do that. Here's how you would do that. Just subtract 2x from both sides. Those aren't like terms, so you just have to write the expression. Negative 2x plus 20, and divide everything by 5. Some of you guys are good at this. And you end up with y equals negative 2/5 x plus 4. Well, there's your y-intercept 4 right there. And the slope is negative 2 over 5. So that way works also. Okay, now some really simple equations, and you might remember this from last year when you were doing reflections. But the graph of the equation x equals 4, it is a line, and all you have to do when you have an x equation is make a vertical line, and then find where that value is true, where x is 4 on the x-axis. So notice right there on the x-axis we're at 4. So that's x equals 4. Let's make a note of that. And then y equals negative 3 is going to be a horizontal line because the slope is 0. So we're going to just draw a horizontal line in, and then we're going to just place it at negative 3 on the y-axis, right there, because at that spot y is equal to -3, and then all those points. So, so this will be a horizontal line at y equals -3, and this will be a vertical line at x equals 4. Okay, so why don't you do the next two, see if you get them right. There you go, that's what I got for that. All right, sometimes you want to put it in standard form using integers. To do that, we are going to, first of all, get rid of any fractions or decimals. So to do that, I'm going to multiply everything by 2. So, and I picked 2 because the term 1/2 is dividing by 2. So I get 2y equals 1/2 times 2 is just 1x minus 14. So I multiplied everything by 2. Now to be in standard form, we need it to look like this, where the x and the y are both on the one side of the equation, and it equals some constant term. So I need this -1x to go to the other side. To make it disappear from this side, I'm going to subtract 1x. And so I end up with -1x. I'm going to be lazy and not put that 1 in there. Plus 2y equals -14. Now it's in standard form, and all the coefficients are integers. Okay? To do this next one, we're going to multiply out the -1/3 x first, using the distributive property. -1/3 times 6 is -2. Now I'm going to multiply everything by 3. That'll get rid of that 1/3. So I got 3y minus 6 equals -1x. I'm not going to put the 1 there. Minus 6. Now I need to get this -x off of this right side, so I'm going to add x to both sides. Running out of room, I now have x plus 3y minus 6 equals -6. And to just have the x and the 3y over here, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And I get that. Now it's in standard form. Okay, to write an equation, the equation is going to look like this, so that gives you a hint on how you're going to write it. And it'll always involve two different things. And in this case, we're talking about a football game, and all the points came from either touchdowns with extra points, which are worth 7 points, or by field goals, which are worth 3 points. So let's let x be the number of field goals. So I'll just put an x there, field goals. And we're going to let y be the touchdowns that we scored. So I need to multiply 3 times every field goal and 7 times every touchdown. And we know from the score up here that the home team scored 63 points. Okay, if I want to represent the guest scores, I would just change this to 24. All right, now if you want to make a graph of that, let's do the y-intercept and the x-intercept to get that. So basically I'm saying if you scored 0 field goals, how many touchdowns would it be to get 63 points? So 63 divided by 7 is 9. If you didn't score any touchdowns, so 0 y's, how many x's would that be? That would be 21, because 63 divided by 3 is 21. So I have a point at 21, 0, which, let's see if we can get there. That's 5, 10, 15, 20. It's actually 1 past that. So there's 21, 0. And then 9 up here, that's 5. That's 10, so 9 is right there. And then all the possibilities, now these have to be whole numbers because you can't have part of one, but they would all have to be on the line between those two dots. All right? All right, I think that's all I got. Oh, we have one more. I'll let you try this one, see if you get the equation right. probably are kind of limited by how many movies you can buy. The most you can buy is 4, because 4 times 15 is 60. You could buy 3, 2, 1, or 0. If you buy 3 movies, that leaves you enough to buy 45 songs. If you buy 2 movies, you can get 30 songs. 1 movie, you can get. Oops, I got that wrong, don't I? 1 movie, 45 songs. 3 movies, 15 songs. And 0 movies would get you 60 songs. All right, so that's all I got for you today. You can go ahead and try them homework problems. And other than that, we'll talk to you soon.